Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. It's nice to be here again. So, today we're gonna play Lake of Voices again, because I just want to know what's happening further in the game. Since we only got like to the save, save spot on the game. So I really want to know what happens in the second part of the walkthrough. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. Just a little bit chilling and reading Lake of Voices and looking if maybe I kill another people. So let's go to the game, I'd say. We can go out by music. Game. The game always needs like a few seconds. Hello? No? Ah, yeah. Kind of takes a few seconds until it's getting there. But what is this white thing here? I actually don't know where this comes from, or is it just on my... I'm not sure. I don't know. So, guys. Ah, no, it's from my... okay, I know what it is. Right, let me pull my avatar a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So then I think we can start the game. Yes. Okay, then let's load the save spot. Hey. Yeah, we reached the shore last time. So let's look what happens further. Okay. I don't believe it until I've stepped off the wood and my boot sinks into the sand. I walk further inland like a corpse, my sole instinct to flee from the waterline. My hazy eyes single in on something ahead. The guide stands on an outcropping in the distance, watching like a sentinel. He doesn't even come to greet us. I stare at him for a moment, not even able to feel alarmed. My own lack of feelings about the situation. He uses his staff to gesture to the forest behind him before disappearing between the trees. I can only assume he must be asking me to follow. The guide takes us further inland, more towards the center. There's a view of the coastline from here, but we are also partially obscured by a few trees.
It's time to sleep.
Okay. No one has the energy to argue with him at this moment. I find a place as comfortable as one could ask for in a location like this, next to one of the trees further out, and lay down, trying to block out my thoughts. For once, exhaustion is my ally, and I slip off into sleep. My eyes slowly blink open and readjust to the brightness, what little there is. The sun is obscured by a thick layer of fog, making it impossible to estimate the time of day. I prop up my elbows and push myself up. The ground is hard and rocky, but that is not the only reason I am eager to get on my feet. I check my surroundings. The harsh, craggy earth of the island is interlaced with twisting vines and gnarled branches. Oh my. Beside me, Bemel and Lou are still fast asleep. The guide, however, is nowhere to be seen. I realize that I don't recall seeing him lay down with everyone. It is like he left us hours ago. There is a creeping silence here. I can't help but shudder at the hollow, aching feeling inside of me. It refuses to relent. I shift my weight back and forth, unsure of what to do with myself. Memories of last night's harrowing journey flicker through my mind. Bemel wakes suddenly, rising with alarm and startling Lou awake as well. My mouth opens, then shuts, and after a moment of fumbling, a word finally escapes.
Hello.
Bemel gives me a gentle smile and makes his way over to me. Behind him, Lou remains on the ground.
Morning.
A pocket of quiet descends over us. Bemel sighs. The atmosphere is weighing on him already.
We should eat something soon.
Probably.
I don't trust what is on this island, so I'll have to split my supplies with Lou.
Be nice.
I still have a few rations left. I'd be happy to contribute.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm not hungry.
Oh, come on, Lou. We wanna help. Lou's back is turned against us. He still hasn't gotten up out of the dirt.
You should eat. You have to keep your energy up for the day ahead.
You mean for the night, right? The male speaks encouragingly. Oh, that's a horrible word. Like he's coaxing in the resource. Lou buries his head deeper into his knees as he curls into a tire ball.
No thanks.
I wanna punch him. Actually. Let me let slip a small chuckle.
Well, it seems I've lost my role as the childish one around here.
Yeah, you did. I look at Bemel and smile weakly at him. However, he's now frowning hard. I understand Lou does not know what he speaks of, and the one who would isn't here. Yes, Margaret died. I know, it's my fault. You shouldn't have turned. A distinct rustling of the leaves around catches my attention. The guide appears, emerging from the thicket. Bemel glares at him as he makes his way over. Lou doesn't seem to notice, as he's still facing away.
The Nixie will not tread on land in daylight. However, being near the shoreline is still dangerous. If you leave the center of the island, remain cautious.
It looks really angry.
Before the sun sets, I will be in this area. It would be wise to meet me here before nightfall.
Okay.
Why didn't you stay with us last night?
I sharply turn towards Bemel as he snarls and confronts the guide.
If you had just been there, none of this would have happened. She didn't have to die.
The guide stands unflinching and completely unaffected.
If all you're going to do is leave everyone to be lost, then why bother guiding us at all?
Despite Bemel's severe words, the guide apparently considers his piece here finished. He turns toward the forested area from which he came.
Wait!
Bemel calls out to the guide, reaching towards him. Before he can make contact, I quickly place a hand on his shoulder. He lowers his arm to his side, though I can still feel wrath emanating from him. You stay this way until the guide disappears from view. Bemel begins to kick at the ground, spraying tiny pieces of gravel about.
Bemele, I know you're angry, but regardless of our feelings, we need the guide. If he leaves us, we'll all die.
Yeah, probably. Now, where we are, like, on the middle of the horrible lake.
And we've done so well with him.
Well, probably better than without. I give him a cold glance. We won't even know which bridge to take without the guide. Bemel knows that. This needs to stop. There are people counting on us to make it back. And what of Lou?
We can't afford to lose our way.
She's right. The anger etched into his expression fades into sadness.
You're right, Kika.
Oops. Sorry? He weakly swats his hand in front of his face, as if he's trying to shoo away his racing thoughts.
I can't stay here right now.
I nod, allowing him to leave alone. Lou meekly calls to me. I turn around to face him, though I don't speak. He's standing some distance away. He fidgets and glances over to the side, before returning his gaze to my eyes. He gestures for me to come closer. I comply. He begins to whisper at me, but he fumbles with his words, and I can't make out anything he says. I look at him inquisitively, finding he speaks up enough to be clear.
I'm sorry for what happened last night.
He speaks quickly as he looks up at me, eyes filled with sorrow. He shifts his focus downwards.
You would have been better off without me.
Well, we're still alive, right? So...
Do you mean when I had to stay behind?
Yes, you and your friend were almost completely abandoned. You got caught up in the fire, and it was a disaster.
Hey, we're still alive. It's okay.
It's alright. Nothing happened in the end. Besides, it isn't your fault that things turned out this way.
Yeah.
It was closer to being my fault than anyone else's. I wasn't supposed to be here, and all I did was get in the way. The guide was right about me. I knew from the beginning that it would be like this too.
But still, you got quite far.
I never should have stayed.
Finishing his thought, he snivels as he turns away. Suddenly, I feel a strong surge of emotions through me. Everything is falling apart, and I do not have the power to change this. Quietly, I speak. Need to villain? Blue, wait, I'm going to speak with a guide. I want to speak with the guide. Luke continues walking away from me, but I do catch him flinch at the statement. I assume that he heard me, though he decided it was best not to acknowledge it. I look at the ground until I no longer hear his footsteps. I ball my hands into fists, steam my will, and start advancing in the direction the guide went. I push my way through the branches and reach the other shore of the island. I see the guide with his back towards me. I didn't try to be quiet as I approached. He must have heard me.
You haven't asked me to leave. Does that mean I can speak to you?
You may say what you like.
And he turns to face me. One feeling comes to the forefront of my mind. I'm actually not feeling angry. I feel like he went through much in his life that he's become so emotionally closed, you know? I feel the tears well in my eyes after all that happened, the people who have died. How am I even supposed to talk to someone like him? He does not even seem concerned. He does not seem to care about anything.
Why can't I be more like you?
My voice is soft, but by his raised eyebrow, it seems the guide heard me.
I do not want to feel pain or sadness anymore. I'm so tired. I wish I could feel nothing at all.
Well, feelings are sometimes tiring. I feel like I can understand that. My head droops and I cover my face and cry.
How are you able to go through this every day? Is it nothing more than becoming used to it? I have seen death so many times since becoming a guard, and even before that I was familiar with loss, yet it still hurts so much.
Like, the music too loud. I'd like the voice volume to be higher. I think that should be okay. I can't understand it.
The sting has not dulled at all. I have simply learned to hide it better. And now it seems I cannot even do that.
Oh. Cannot stop sobbing. The tears just continue to fall. Disinterest strangely makes it easier to let my true self show. It's really sad. Although he made silent, I can still feel the guide near me. He has not abandoned me here. After some time, I managed to stifle the tears and look up at him. His eyes are distant, looking out across the expanse of Zinlos.
You do not need practice. You need a new perspective. You can see 1,000 deaths and still feel pain at each one, so long as they hold meaning for you.
How can I do otherwise? Losing one's life is a tragedy.
There are people dying even as we speak. You do not care about them.
I do not have to see those with my own eyes.
But you can still decide that those deaths are not relevant to you. Or perhaps you choose to feel that whether a person dies sooner or later makes no difference. Or even that death is to be preferred over life in this world. At least they have peace. Their death may even be beneficial to others. Any such idea would be fine. Pick what is easiest for you to swallow.
It sounds so cold, but he's simply giving what I asked for. I'm not able to stop myself from crying further.
What is your perspective?
He pauses a moment and thought.
The villages in this area pay me so that I am able to stay and lead people when needed. But making a living is not the reason I do so. Neither is it so I can help those who wish to cross. I stay here so that I can make certain as few people attempt the journey as possible.
Oh.
What?
I have decided to believe that I make a difference in the amount of those who come in contact with Sinlos.
Okay.
So long as I am here, others rarely try to cross on their own. They either wait for the few trips I am able to make, or don't go at all. I can also turn someone away if I feel they are unfit. My one hope in this life is that someday people will never attempt to cross the bridges again.
Oh. Sorry. How I can feel the genuine emotion in his words.
It is a futile dream, I know. It is impossible to convince everyone.
Yeah. And the feelings are gone.
For those who do insist upon going, well, if their life is worth risking to save a few days of travel time, then it isn't worth very much at all. Understand?
Kind of.
Yes.
Fine.
He closes his eyes and thoughtlessly brushes a few loose strands of his hair back behind his ear. He seems to be losing some of his patience. For some reason, it is hard for me to see the guide acting so normal. It makes me realize how I never truly saw him for what he was. Yeah.
That is not your responsibility.
He gives no reply. With a sigh, I focus on the path ahead. This is not over, and I have to be
I'm
strong.
going to see how everything is on the island.
I turn and leave. I feel comforted that, at least in a small way, I understand the guide better. I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path, but I managed to pick my way through the bush quite well. After moving on, I find Bamel in a jagged clearing, leaning against a tree. He's already noticed me and is looking my way, smiling. As I get close, I can pick up on the sadness behind his jovial expression.
How are you faring? Any problems?
No, quite good.
Everything is fine. I came to check on you.
How kind. I've calmed down since then.
I'm glad to hear that. Is there any way I can help or anything you'd like to say?
raised an eyebrow at that, his grin becoming markedly playful.
I didn't expect to see you so worried about me, Kika.
I have to force myself not to avert my eyes at that comment, embarrassment flowing into me. Emil notices my reaction. He does not draw attention to it, however. Instead, he throws his arms out wide with a sour expression.
Have you seen the guide?
I did. Emma is clearly asking out of a sense of obligation and makes no secret that he's not pleased to be discussing the guide. I nod in response.
I saw him earlier. He is the same as always.
Good, good. In that case, I'm going to stretch my legs for a bit. I feel stiff from standing in one place for so long.
Understandable. Understandable. I bid him a brief goodbye, Bummer waves as he departs. I find that I've been pacing back and forth for quite some time. I finished my check a while ago, so now I've nothing left to do but aimlessly wander. I'm overcome with restlessness. This island may be safer than the bridges, but that is far from enough to ease the mind. I quietly sigh and decide to wait on my own. If I go back now, whoever I encounter will know that I don't want to be alone. That is more troubling than simply staying where I am. I sit down and silently listen to the ambience of the island as I wait for time to pass. I can only hope this will all end before I can no longer keep myself together. The sun begins to ascend in the sky and the light starts to fade into the fog. I fully believe that it is almost time to leave this island. A chill slips down my spine at the thought of what comes next. However, it isn't too long before I hear someone approaching from within the rush. Rush? I think it should be bush. It's the guide. He emerges from the bushes and steps out into the open.
Hello.
He doesn't respond to my greeting. Instead, he narrows his eyes, causing the tension to rise that much further.
Lou is gone. He's dead.
No! I need to fall backwards from his words.
What?
Yeah. I can stick by and the guide says nothing as my panic pounds higher, harder, and takes full control of my mind. This is not possible. No, this is a mistake.
We have to go look for him.
I would not claim this without good reason. Wait and you'll see. Night will fall and Lou will not come to meet us.
Did he went into the water? I feel like he was on the bridges just to die. He's already aware of what has happened. My head feels as though it has been slammed against a brick wall. Did Bemel accept the guide's words as true that easily? I wish he was here. I need to talk to him. I want to see another human with feelings alive and well. Most of all, though, I want this to be wrong. I cannot help but hope for Lou to come stumbling out of the bushes. But make his usual belittling type of joke about himself by pointing out. Yeah, like from the beginning. I think he was on the bridges just to die. I think this was his only purpose, to be on the bridges. You know? So... yeah... But still, it's hard. I didn't think he would just go from our camp, I'd say, and do something at the time while he's with us on this island, you know? So it's kind of a little bit depressing. Okay, we're 2 down, 3 to go. Damn it. Ah. Okay, I bury Rain and my burning desire to search for Loom, or at least Mel, but I know the dangers of blindly wandering off on my own. I cannot make the situation worse by acting irrationally, so I don't move. Before it gets too dark, Mel appears. I'm relieved until I get a look at his face. Then dread overtakes me. He looks distraught, scratches and nicks on his hands and sleeves. The guide's words must be true. Lou must be gone. I limply hang my head, trying to hide my increasingly watery eyes. As Bamel walks by, I can't find any words to say. He doesn't speak either. I manage to bring my ready head up to look at Bamel again. He's giving the guide a belligerent sneer, eyes reading pure suspicion. The look makes me wary, but I don't ask, as I can't find the power to talk. All three of us wait in a deep, miserable silence until night falls. Night settles like a shroud over the land, every inch of the world now covered in unrelenting darkness. Suddenly there's a gurgling. The water parts as the bridges of the North rise powered by some unnatural force, creaking like they might fall apart. I feel an inexplicable pounding like a hammer in the back of my head, beating faster and heavier than my own heart. I clench my teeth to stop it from churning my stomach.
We must go now.
Then let's go. The guy doesn't wait for any replies, briskly starting in the direction of the shore. Bamel and I match his pace. I can feel the air waiting on us, a sensation that slows our steps despite being rested. Something hovers in my mind, the mirrored memory of the beginning of last night's journey. One day ago feels like a lifetime past. The thick inky water sloshes reluctantly off of the boards, leading back into the lake until finally it stills. A shudder crawls over my body as I place my foot on the boards, but I quickly shake it off. I have no other option. We have to go through this again. Or you stay on this island where you probably don't have much to eat or drink or anything. Old hands as their old corpses. Why are you saying corpses? We go over the bridges in silence. The only sound that accompanies us is the thick lapping of the water at the bridge. Bamel stays close by my side with a sour expression on his face. He evidently has little interest in masking his disgust. He murmurs something beneath his breath, but it's inaudible. I decide not to ask about it. It wasn't meant for me to hear. It feels as though barely any time has passed. It is explained that half the night has crept by. We encountered a few sunken bridges which forced us to reroute, while other paths were rotten enough to make us stagger our steps. However, the biggest threat of all is eerily absent: the prowlers. I haven't seen more than shadowy glimpses of them down other paths, and even those may have simply been tricks of the fog. I feel I may be even more on edge tonight than the last. Judging by Bamel's tenseness, he isn't set at ease by their lack of presence either.
Why?
I whisper the question softly, almost silently as I scan left and right across the impossibly empty bridges for any sign of movement. I ponder whether they are still wary from the consuming blaze that lit up the night yesterday, or whether they are less dragging themselves across the bridges than usual because many have already gotten what they wanted. And yeah, they had like 2 people. My skin scrawls with a touch of icy fingers at the thought, and I can't control the sharp shiver that travels down my spine. When it catches my concern, he brings himself closer to my ear.
This isn't right. It shouldn't be nearly this easy to cross. Not after what we went through the other night.
Could they be planning something?
I don't know. Emma lightly shakes his head. He speaks with suspicion in his voice as he peers at the guide ahead.
Don't know.
I don't. I feel like Bamel suspects the guide to, like, do something with the Nixie. I don't think he would. As time passes by, we continue to see nothing but more bridges and fog. Beside me, Bamel is becoming more and more agitated the longer we go without disruption. I could read Bamel well enough to know what his anger is still directed at the guide, rather than the bridges themselves. It was my hope that he would be able to contain his feelings toward our lead until we had put this maze behind us. That is becoming unlikely. That is a problem! I decided to step in before he grows too heated and there's yet another hazardous
Your
argument.
concentration is clouded, Bamele. What is troubling you?
Surely you're already aware. It's him.
Bamel glows hatefully at the guide. I purse my lips for a moment before continuing, resigned.
I do know that. However, you need to stop allowing that to consume you, or else you could get hurt. Or even...
Bamel releases an exasperated sigh while crossly folding his arms.
That is impossible. I can't stop myself from thinking about it. Everything makes so much sense now.
What do you mean by that?
Recall yesterday. I asked him why he would lead others at all if he was heartlessly going to leave them behind. What if this is the reason? Before, we could scarcely escape these monsters, and now I can't even hear a whisper of one. What if they're already satisfied with what they've taken?
My eyes widen and I stifle a gasp. The situation at hand, giving both of us a reason to think on the possibility, is absolutely unsettling. His conclusion is even worse still. The notion of the guide allowing others to die unnecessarily on purpose to make it less dangerous for the remaining few, that is not something I was prepared for.
Even back when we started, the first time we met the guide, he mentioned that at least one of us would die before the journey was finished. Didn't that exchange seem strange to you? He said it as though it was a price to pay for coming with him.
I don't think that's what he meant with that, but just that if you have more people, it's just, the risk's just higher, right? It's only one guide and 3 people he had to look after. So it's more to look out for than only one people. Like Margaret, that was already agreed upon and we two wanted to come with. So he just stated the risks, like from that what he already encountered in all those years that he is being the guide, right? So,
The guide is free to do as he pleases. He can and will threaten to leave the entire group behind at so much as a hint of resistance. Nothing is stopping him. He knew this was going to happen. He had to know.
I feel Bamel is too much consumed of his hatred towards the guide. I take a few moments to breathe. Despite the danger, I only barely resist shutting my eyes against the world.
We need to make it to the other side. We must keep moving forward and survive. The guide is our only way across.
That's true. My true Padawan voice does not make an impression. His eyes are not swayed. He continues to stare into me.
I am saying he cannot be trusted with our lives at this very moment. I need an answer to that, Kika. What do you really think?
I think we're gonna die if we don't stay by the guide. I think we can discuss it at a later date. Coming to a decision on the matter is impossible right now. There's too much danger and too many unknowns to account for to reach any sort of conclusion. I have no choice but to shut the conversation down. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I can only hope her mother will take it seriously.
When everything is through, then we may talk about it. End of discussion.
Evan doesn't battle me further on the issue. His face no longer retains any anger, only sorrow. He returns his gaze straight ahead. Our progress continues steadily and we still encounter no significant difficulties. I feel like if we had agreed with him, or disagreed completely, if we had agreed with him, I think he would confront the guide and we had like a fight maybe, or we would just split from the guide or something like that. This would probably have killed us in the long run. So I feel like we can go with the guide till the end and then we can still like confront him if we need to or if he wants to. It's way too dangerous to do it here on those horrible bridges with those Nixie around us.
How much longer until we reach the other side? We've traveled quite a ways.
Samuel's quiet breaking question doesn't sound particularly enthused, I think.
It should only be another couple of hours.
Huh.
Samuel's unconvinced. It's not only I who notice. The guide suddenly stops. Eerily, he turns his head to the side and looks back at us.
Is there a problem with that?
Is there?
We've progressed through the bridges at a much quicker clip this time. Samuel's question was not idle curiosity, he was confirming that fact for himself. I should have known. The guide looks to be slightly irritated over the attitude Bemel has taken.
If you have something to say, you should say it. Unless you're afraid that I'm going to leave you behind.
This statement lands heavily on us. Did he listen to our conversation? There were no sounds to cover our voices, however, I had assumed we were far enough away from the guide to keep our words to ourselves. He stares with such an ice expression I nearly freeze in place. Bemel, on the other hand, heats up and grows more hostile. He leaves my side to rush into the guide's flickering light. This is going much too far. I urge him to come back. He ignores me and takes a stand facing the guy. Oh, stop it, Bemel! I feel like he's gonna die.
Am I right? Are you going to leave us behind after what I've done?
The guy doesn't bother at all by Bemel's entering his space. He gives a level answer.
No.
Well, that's grand. In that case, I'd like to know if I'm on the right track about something else. Are the monsters missing because they've already eaten? Or is there some other reason why they've all mysteriously vanished?
The guide pauses for a moment, his eyes close and he becomes completely still.
It's possible.
Bemel glares at the guide over the admittance. It's as though he heard nothing after the first line the guide spoke. The guide is unfazed.
If you enter these bridges, all you should expect is death. That is no secret.
Well, that's true.
You need to stop putting so much energy into finding meaning, or else you will end up like the others.
Bemel ends up speechless, caught off guard by the guide openly discussing his accusation. The guide continues at Bemel's silence, annoyance leaking into his voice.
You think that the results would have been different if only I had said more or did something differently. But that is not true. The conclusion would be exactly the same. If Lou hadn't died when he did, he would have been lost at some other point during the trip.
Probably, because he didn't seem to want to live. Bemel ceases to be finished with being surprised. His anger reignites.
If that's all well and true, why haven't you died yet? How is it that you've been able to cross these horrendous bridges over and over again without suffering the same consequences as everyone else?
The guide's face twists into a vicious snarl. He shouts.
I have died! I have no life to give. Everything I am, everything I could have been, was surrendered to this lake. That is the only reason why I'm able to stand before you now. show you the way, and I can give you advice on how to survive the perils you will face. That is all I'm able to offer. Is that not enough for you? What else do you want from me? Kindness? Sympathy? It's been far too many years since I was capable of giving anything like that.
I don't know why, but it sounds really sad to me, what the guide says. The fighter stops to catch his breath, though the emotion in his eyes still shines intently. There's no response from either of us. An agonizing silence permeates the air. No one dares to even move. The tension is cut as the boards beneath me start to creak. My eyes dart down. The bridge is sinking rapidly. Instinctively, I jump backwards, but the new section of the bridge groans horribly as it too starts to tilt into the water. They keep getting farther and farther away. With each disappearing platform I move off. Shit. I got Bimel's call. My chest tightens when I see him, the guide on what has become the other side of a small chasm. I leap back just in time as the bridge under me snaps like a twig. Glancing over again, they keep getting farther and farther away. With each disappearing platform I move off. Dread creeps up my neck and I nearly lose my footing once I realize what's happening. Desperately stumbling backwards, I finally manage to regain my balance. I use this to leap far enough back that the bridge I land on doesn't immediately start to fall apart under my weight. In another 3 swift steps, I'm finally on sturdy wood. The bridge reluctantly stops shifting and settle. The only trace left of what was once a huge section of bridge is a few splintered boats floating in the murky water. They consumed it. Somehow I am not surprised. In my bearings, I face what has become of my circumstance. I am now separated from Bemel and the guide, by a far wider gorge than anyone could leap. My throat goes bone dry as I teeter the end of the bridge, mind weirdly scrambling for a solution that doesn't come. I look onto Bemel's face. He's completely aghast, darting from one side of the bridge to the other like a panicked animal. There is no mistaking that he's desperate to help me in some way. However, there's also no mistaking that there aren't any options available to him. He turns to the guide with pleading eyes, all his earlier hostility sunken with the bridges. I'm too far off to grasp what Bimel is asking, but I get the impression he is seeing if there's another way. The guide turns to me, he's completely cooled down from the earlier interaction, back to his same placid expression. Focus back on Bimel, who has now gripped him by the cloak. The guide says one word. Judging from the look of pure terror on Bemel's face, I can only assume it was a no. There's no way back to them. The guide frees himself from Bemel's grasp and continues speaking. Bemel still seems wholly shaken at his words. I can barely see from here, but I think he's quivering. So as the two discuss my fate, unable to say anything, fear starts to crawl over me. My arms run cold, to freezing. It's not long before the rest of my body follows. I notice Bimel cover his face with his still shuddering hand. The guide's voice echoes loudly across the waters, separating me from them.
Go back and take the next bridge you come across that goes west. There may be enough time for you to find your own way.
Oh, I need to sit. To adjust my sitting. Oh my. That's getting interesting. Okay. Go back and take the next bridge you come across that goes west. There may be enough time for you to find your own way. That goes west. But how do I know what's west? I blink, taking it back for a moment before I quickly regain my composure. That's right. This isn't over. I still have my lantern with me. The powers are less active, and if the guide says that it's possible, it could be true. I saw him solemnly at his words and yell back.
I'll meet you there. Don't wait for me.
He bows his head and starts to slowly back away from the edge. Bemel pulls his head from his hand to look at me. Even across the water I can tell that he's crying. I smile forlornly at him as the wind whips against my back. I speak softly.
You need to go.
There's no way he could have heard me, yet I'm confident that the sentiment got across. I spin on my ears and run back the way we came, searching for the bridge the guide said to take. I can only hope that we all safely reunite before this night ends. I swear a brief glance behind me, however there's not a trace of them or even the dead and I was stranded at. With a painful contracting of my heart, I realize that I am truly alone now. Quickly, I shake off the thought and refocus my attention on what's in front of me. First branching of the path comes into reach. I skid into a full stop in front of it. The pathway is as dark and desolate as every bridge. It's impossible to see what's down the twisting way. The previous conversation comes floating back to me. Now that I'm here, I must face that concern. Is the guide reliable? Can he be trusted? Had to so they could go on without being weighted down. That I don't regret. However, I can't help but wonder if the guide couldn't give me a proper suggestion because of the sinking bridges. A mistake could have been made. It is also possible he knowingly gave false hope to keep the situation calm, or perhaps the intention set me to the wrong path because it would be easier for them if I did not make. I don't think so. Because when we talk to him, he's actually trying to get as much people to not cross the bridge, and if he does, he tries to get them across alive to his possibilities without... Yeah, he's trying to save the lemmings. Yeah, kind of. So I don't think he would actively try to kill those that are on the bridge, because then he would just get himself in dangerous land, so it's like for nothing, you know? So why should he? Okay, I look between the pathways based on my direction. It does seem as though other options could potentially connect me to them before the west does. Yet I cannot possibly know until I move forward. I need to make a decision. Follow the guide's path. I don't think he's trying to kill us, so... No, I can't allow doubt to take control. We've known from the beginning that there is only one path that has led travelers to safety. This. I will take the guide on his word. Without wasting an additional moment, I make my way across the western bridge. I walk at a modest, brisk pace, not wanting to risk tripping or running out of energy in a moment where I need it. As the eeriness of the lake was disconcerting before, now it is overwhelming. The blizzard-like fog drifting over the waters limits my vision to the span of my arms. The utter silence was a comfort, despite how otherworldly it felt. But the whispering of the lake has started to stir now. I gulp beside myself. They've noticed me. As the chattering grows, I consider briefly if the others hear them as well, or if they come out specifically because I am on my own, where you're an easier target than two people. So, probably. I straighten my back and walk most surely. Cannot let them believe I am an easy target. I even consider keeping my sword in hand. It doesn't seem entirely likely they would realize it is something that could hurt them. To keep my mind from wandering into dark places, I count my steps like we used to in training. 1, 2, 3, 4. Despite my best efforts, things have started to get to me. My wrists wash over me, causing painful twinges underneath my clothes. It make me jerk and twitch, like a fly-bitten horse. The whispering in human voices, the feeling of vulnerability. Some words are just horrible to read. The horrible thought of being hopelessly lost all melded together and consuming me. My pace breaks from the steady rhythm of my counting set. It quickens more as I start to succumb to fear. My brisk steps turn into long, frantic strides. Something in me whispers, faster, go faster. Don't let them catch you. And I listen. I break into a run, like moving on landmines. Flashes of fear explode in my mind and drive my feet harder, faster, stronger along the path. Until suddenly, my sense of reason returns and I stop dead. My chest rises and falls with deep, heaving breaths as I try to calm myself down. The monsters erupt into an inharmonious chorus of what sounds to be wicked laws. I fight the urge to shout back at the creatures. This feels like a nightmare I will never wake up from. I take another breath and resume my measured progress. Even after the first crossroad, I continue with the guide's simple direction, keeping west. Every chance I get, I have no other hints for this labyrinth. It's difficult to tell how much time has passed. It must be at least an hour, judging by how much energy I've expended. Since I recomposed myself, I have not stopped walking for a second. Despite how much time has worn on, the route still feels like an endless abyss. Then, I hear a noise which causes a shuddering chill to creep down my spine. An uneven clicking, followed by a scratching sound. It's a prowler. I immediately turn to look behind me. There's nothing. I breathe out, relieved. Is he... He's in front of me, right? My ears search for the source of the noise, but with all the babble the Nixie are making, the direction is clouded. I strain my ears. That's it. The noise is drifting slowly from one of the connecting paths up ahead. I can't tell the noise is drawing nearer. The prowler has not arrived yet, but soon its path will intersect with my own. I will not wait for it to reveal itself, leaving me 2 points. I can run past the bridge connection to get ahead of it, or I turn back and find a new path to take. I don't think it makes sense to go back. I think it's better if we run past it. Go past it. Oh, I have faith that following the same path I've been is for the best. I steer myself and build up speed, since we've always gone west, so I don't think there's actually another path. I get closer and closer to the branch with a lurking threat and pick up my pace so I'm sprinting. I hear a gurgling hiss as I pass through the crossroad. It must have been close enough to be pained by the light. I barely made it, but we made it. God bless. However, I didn't hear any splash. It is still nearby. I look behind me to see if it at least decided to come no further. Horrified, I realize that it's pointedly following me. It's no longer mindlessly dragging itself through blackness. I have become its target, but I know where it is. And I don't have to mind other people, so if I have to, I can run. Right? It seems bent wildly naturally. It looks as though it's only barely keeping itself upright, as its torso wobbles on its hips. That isn't stopping it from giving chase. I focus my view back ahead and continue to run. My breathing rapidly becomes ragged. I can still hear the squishing footsteps of the prowler behind me as it lunges its body forward in that unnatural gait. Without warning, the bridge lurches to one side. Ooh, shit. Catch him complete off guard, I lose my footing and slam onto the damp surface of the bridge. My light falls with me, painfully snuffing out. Splashes and the side stirring of many voices come from the lake. How? Why? Is it rotting, or do they push the support beams? I am left with no time to ponder the mystery as the monster draws near. I scramble back onto my feet as it closes in. Grabbing my dog lantern, I resume running to put some space between us again. I open the latch on the lantern and pull out a match. Have to slow down, at least briefly, to properly light the flame without it blowing out. With death still on my heels, I must not let one precious moment be wasted. Set on my plan, and with everything in hand, I begin to decrease my pace. A loud scream as the prowler latches onto my body from behind. I didn't know if I should light it then and there. I let out a loud scream as the prowler latches onto my body from behind. No, no, no. It slashes its long claws against the armor on my sides. I wince. It's fine as we strong metal against each other, try to find down the pain, but it scratches me again. I still resist against the creature trying to pull it off of me. It is of no use. Its strength is beyond that of any human. Digging my heels into the boards in one last desperate attempt to escape, but soon I'm aware the Nyx has me as the bridge edge. Push against it still before it hurls its body off the edge of the bridge. Bring me down along with it. I think we dead. Water engulfs my vision, having cold, so thick I can't even hear my own thrashing. I try to grab my sword, try to fight back, but I can't even get it out of the hilt. The resistance against me is all uncalm. Something grabs my arm and then my waist. I get pulled from side to side or further down, first one way and then another. The water feels like a solid substance. Being dragged against it, it's like I'm being pressed through something. My vision grows darker and darker. I can't tell whether I'm going lower or whether I'm losing consciousness. My eyes fail to bring me closer to wherever the surface is, but nothing is working. Complete darkness engulfs me. Was everything I've done worth it? I must believe that it was. Hey! We died. I'm going to skip. I make it like I did before. Because I just want to skip to where I was.
That is not your responsibility.
I made this. We can discuss at the end. Follow the guide's path. Go past it. Light the lantern. That's the way to go. Oh man. Moving as fast as I am capable, I place a lit match inside the lantern and the oil catches fire. As the flame grows, I can hear the awful footsteps behind me begin to peter out. Still glance behind me, it has truly stopped. The return of light seems to catch it off guard and thankfully declines coming closer. Run! Moments to breathe, I rush forward once more. Fighting isn't an option and I need to get away from that monster. Not able to run fast enough, however. Why? I'm doing everything wrong. I'm thrown to the ground again. The shock is great and the lantern slips from my hands, getting across the bridge out of my reach. Because it came in contact with the light, the prowler drops itself back into the depths without attacking again. Okay, that looks good. There's no time to feel relieved. Arms of other Nyx emerge from the water and reach up the side of the bridge, scraping the boards as they try to get to me. I try to climb up onto my feet, but one of the creatures takes hold of me before I can properly stand. I'm dragged back down to the ground and my jaw smacking out against the bridge as the Nyx blindly pulls me towards the edge. Others and clawed hands grab onto me so I jam my nails out into a crevice in the bridge. I kick frantically at the silhouettes, but they keep pulling me closer to the edge. I curl my fingers around the uneven wood tighter. Despite all my efforts, there's no support. My bloody splintered fingers come loose. I feel like I'm dead again. I feel like I had to run there. Yeah. Oh, come on. Skip! Skip!
That is not.
Skip. Can discuss at the end. I'll save here. Yes, please. Thank you, because I'm gonna to skip again. Follow the guide's path. I'm gonna save this one too. And skip again. Go past it. Light the lantern. Stare it down. I managed to calm my mind down from the commotion and recall what the guide said when we first encountered a prow. You don't have to run or fight. You only need to keep moving while keeping an eye on it. Yeah, he said that. Damn it. I can't keep on running forever, and doing so only seemed to invigorate them further. I fix my stare and forcefully as the creature recoils from my well-lit lantern. Moving at a steady but brisk pace and continue forward, making sure to check behind me often. It creeps at a distance, however, the thing makes no more dramatic attempts to engage with me, choosing only to lurk. I'm set on edge by its presence, but in a way it's strangely beneficial. It makes it harder to get lost within my own mind, when the tension in the air is so high. Reaffirming my goals, I go down bridge after bridge, making my way to what I can only hope is the way out. Eventually the prower halts at the precipice of one of the branches. Frustrated, it paces back and forth on the border as though something's physically stopping it from going further. I don't know if that's good. I decide to take that as a good omen. This journey of mine returns to one of isolation, even the whispers of Zinlos have ceased. Sun rears through the fog, the black sky is turning dark blue. Dawn is beginning to rise. At this point, there's no use in keeping up my strength. Spin down the bridge, going faster and faster as I hold out for some sort of sign. Anything. Eventually I receive one. The silhouette of land peeks into my field of vision. I can scarcely believe it is as I blink away the tears. With a renewed spirit, I press down the bridge with increased speed, desperately trying to outpace the sun. A glowing orb peeks into view against the obscured sky and begins to ascend, unfeelingly. With each step, the sky brightens ever so slightly more. I race through the oppressive fog and there's a voice in the distance. It isn't the horrifying sounds of monsters looming. It's Bemel. He's calling out for me. I shout back to him through the dark, foggy void. My voice comes out as a horribly weak wheeze between deep, shaky breaths. I'm almost certain he couldn't hear me. I'm not bothered by that, however. I will find him. I'm coming, Bemel. Please, just wait for me. Keep running against this increasing light, and his figure comes into view. Here, on the bridges. Bemel races towards me at high speed and doesn't slow down when he gets near. He grabs hold of my side and supports my dropping frame as I slow to a stop. I barely choke out a sentence as I strain to catch my breath.
Why are you here?
I was looking for you, of course. I knew you had to be nearby. You had to be. Don't worry over it. I wasn't reckless enough to go in the dark. I waited until there was some sun and stayed on one path.
Against his own plain skills, I grow cross at his risky behavior.
The bridges could have sunk.
Despite that admonishment, I'm terribly relieved to see him again.
You are free to give me a proper lecture some other time. Right now, I'd say it's time for us to get out of this damned place.
Oh, yeah.
Are you still able to run?
Sure. I put all my weight back onto my feet and nod at him confidently, though my legs still lightly quake beneath me. Bemel gives me a reassuring smile, something I had come to believe I would never get to see again.
Don't worry. We're nearly there.
Let's go! I provide a battered smile in return. The two of us tear across the bridges in the direction Bemel points out, and just as he promised, the end comes into view. Against all the odds, we both make it. I nearly tumble off the bridges onto solid ground. I crouch on the ground and lay my head between my legs, unable to stand. Rest there quietly for a few moments, taking time to allow my breathing and emotions to settle down. Finally, I look up from my lap and see Bemel standing ahead of me. Both of our eyes are flowing with tears. Bemel walks over and sits down in the dirt nearby. He gazes deeply into my eyes with a gentle smile gracing his lips. No words need to be exchanged between us to know what the other is thinking. I'm glad for it because I'm not sure I would be able to speak even if I needed to. The sound of sloshing and wood lurching captures our attention as the bridges begin to sink. In a few minutes, only the lonely dock is left. With that, the guide walks towards me.
It is time to leave this place. There is nothing left for you here.
You're probably right. Upon being addressed by him, I rise to my feet. He has a calm look on his face, though there's force behind his serenity. I open my mouth in an attempt to speak. However, I quickly realize I have little idea of what to say. Do I thank him for this? Should I give him my trust? Was our survival because of him or despite him? Even now, I cannot know for certain. And then the fog is removed from my thoughts. After everything that has happened, it becomes clear. I harden my face to match his serious disposition. There's something he's certainly right of. This place isn't a place to linger. Going round and round in circles will never help. We cannot submit our lives or our minds to Zinlos. For better or for ill, there's only one person who can help those once they are within its grasp. The guide. If we were removed, the place would be no safer. If he were removed, the place would be no safer. What I must do if I truly want to defend others is keep them from coming here at all. When I return to my village, I intend to make that information accurately known to our elder. For that to happen, we must leave.
Goodbye.
His eyes narrow as he looks over me. I begin to feel uncomfortable under his scrutiny, but for a moment I could swear I noticed him smiling slightly. However, it could easily be a trick of the morning sun. I look away to face Bamel, not wanting to get caught up in this any longer.
Bamele, we're leaving.
Let's go! He lifts his head at my voice and grins, though his expression quickly sours into a frown. He shows no eagerness to move forward and keeps his distance. He still feels regret that it is only us who are leaving. I empathize greatly with him, knowing that feeling is one we will never escape from, even after this lake is far behind us. However, he manages to weakly smile again.
Those words are music to my ears. Let's head out.
Well, let's go. Then I walks towards the forest without even acknowledging the guide. That is for the best on the whole. We must get away from here. It saddens me to think Bamel doesn't even have the strength to become angry. Though perhaps he had an epiphany about this lake in the same way that I did. We will be able to discuss that on another occasion. Despite the firmness I so intently tried to have, my heart starts to waver. Margaret, Lou, they're both still here. I wish to give them a proper farewell. Oh. I want to do something. My eyes begin to water and I almost turn back around. No, it's done. I need to remember that. They'll never want me to ascribe their lives to Zinlos. Nothing would disgrace their memory more. I will keep them in my thoughts without allowing the lake to poison me. As my steadfastness truly regained, I march into the light with no hesitation. With a solemn heart, I at least arrived at Hammer. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. The urgency meant that my mind was occupied with other matters. I worked tirelessly to aid Hammer's own guards in forcing back the brigadiers. But during the moments of calm and when the sun went down, I would remember the lake. Bamel was of great help during the fight. His outwardly positive demeanor lifted the spirits of many around him, but I could see from the shadows in his eyes that he hadn't forgotten what we went through. Nor could I miss the distance that had grown between us. He spoke fewer words to me and I never gave him many either, yet he seemed stronger than I had seen before. I admire his will. When receiving payments for his service, the guide must give a report of all those who both succeeded and failed to cross the lake. The name and fate of Margaret soon became known in Hammer. I added that she was an intelligent, thoughtful person and urged them to show respect for her passing. I hope that one day I will have the opportunity to go to her hometown and give my own proper respects. His retelling of events had little to say of Lou. I know that it is because he was not meant to be there and was never one to open up, but it still sends me to face how I never truly got to know who he was. I can only pray that those who cared for him will learn the truth of what happened. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. He will remain obscured in that realm of fog and fear, a mysterious light off in the distance that is ever out of reach of the real world. I worry about when I must return home to my usual life. It will be difficult to continue as things were before. One thing I know for certain is that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross Zinlos again. I have already told the Hammer leaders the same. Not a single more person should have to experience what we did. Its darkness will remain with me for the rest of my days. Though so much was lost, I try to believe that our lessons will keep others from suffering the same way, and in the end something will be gained. Lake of Roses. Yet a way was found. Ma. Hey, we have a few pics. Wanna see that? It's a tidbit different, but still creepy. Okay. But at least we have a few. CGs. It's 3. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this walkthrough. I don't know if I will play another one. Maybe if I'm handicapped again, maybe I'll try another one. Yeah, to get maybe Margaret and Lou to the other side. But I think then someone other will die. Yeah. If I remember correctly, there is no way to help everyone. At least it seemed like in the description of Steam of the game. That there will always like die at least one person in the walkthroughs. Yeah. So yeah, the stream was at like a little over an hour. I don't think it makes sense to start another walkthrough here or to play something else. So I think this is enough for today. And I'm also a little bit sleepy, so let's close the game. And yeah, it's a little bit loud. So yeah, I think that was enough for today. And yeah, I'm kind of really sleepy right now. I'm awake since like 5 p.m. roundabout, and it's now a little past 10. So yeah, and I made a big workout today, so I'm a little bit sleepy. Yeah. So I think next Tuesday I will be playing Poleward again. Yeah, cause why not? I think it was enough lack of voices for the time being. Maybe next time if I have something again with my hand, I'll try another one. So I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. I know it wasn't that adventurous, but I think the storytelling was interesting, kind of cool. So until next time, have a nice evening, and I hope I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye bye!